Concrete in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's the Rinker Pipecast with your hosts, Steve Nilfortion.
This might just get as f***ed up as a pile of coat hangers. Oh, y'all are not ready for this.
And Stu Waller.
Storm drain is a meal best served rigid. Yeah, put this in your pipe and smoke it.
Welcome to the Rinker Pipecast.
Stu.
Kids are
Hey,
a little young to be
what are y'all,
playing blackjack, aren't you?
What's going on here? What are y'all doing?
This table is hot. We are playing blackjack.
Whoa!
Woo!
Table's hot, huh? I see you got 21. But
Okay.
wait, aren't you a little young for this?
Is this what's going on in Las Vegas?
What's in Vegas stays in Vegas. Hey, man.
Whoa!
Okay.
What's
well,
in Vegas thing?
Are there parents around?
Parents, we got kids on aisle 3. Anybody? I think your mom's calling you. Yeah, kids.
Oh, they're here. There's your parents.
She had
There
a
you
good
go.
hit. Here, let me help you down a little bit. Come on. You got it? Okay.
Wow.
Wow. They had a good hand. What's going on? Man, you leave the table for what, 2
Steve,
seconds? And
You were supposed to kind of watch
Dude,
out security.
you were on babysitting duty. What was that? What was
No,
going on
I've
with
already
that?
had kids. I'm out. I'm out.
Jesus. Wow. This one was hot, though. Look, she got that's a lot of chips. He
I
got
don't know,
21. Man.
Is that what happens here in Vegas?
Hey, can y'all come to the casino? Oh, they're gone. Oh.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to episode, what are we on? Episode 4?
Number 4
Of the Rinker Pipecast, live from Las Vegas at the World of Concrete. This conference, I tell you what, I keep saying it, the first conference since pandemic. It's going great. I mean, it's the people everywhere. They had the bricklayer contest going on outside. Did you
it's a
see
classic.
that? Yeah.
Every year, it's always a big event. Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
And like I said, this is amazing for Vegas. It's going great. The tunnel, I saw people checking out that tunnel down there that connects the trade center.
Man, I want to see that.
Elon Musk's deal.
Yeah.
Do you get to drive the Tesla?
I'm thinking
Or is it
driverless.
one of those autonomous high-tech type things?
Yeah, smart infrastructure.
Man. So earlier on the by the way, I'm Steve Nilfortion. I'm your host.
I'm Stu Waller.
And so earlier we were talking, I don't know if you tuned into the prior episode. Apparently it came to our realization that Stu is one of the few people who has never seen the movie Goonies. I'm still scratching my head on that. We just found out not only has he never seen Goonies, he's never seen Gremlins.
Here we go. Parts of that. I've seen parts.
Man, what's wrong with you? These are classics.
I'm an adult.
So you were back in the Lassie days? Is that?
Almost, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, now that's classic TV.
Man.
Star Wars, that's good.
Jesus,
What about that? What about E.T., all that kind of
Oh,
thing?
E.T. That was a classic. Yeah.
Okay.
E.T. was perfect.
Okay, I saw that.
I'll let you slide. I'll let you slide on that.
All right.
So, hey, you see anything cool going on your walking around the World of Concrete today?
Oh, well, trying to find those kids a minute ago. That was interesting.
That was interesting.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's all cool. I just, like you said earlier, I mean, the number of people here,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't been here for like 6 years.
All the hotels are probably loving this. A lot of the people here are staying at the Mirage. I know. I'm staying down at the Virgin Hotel from our Hard Rock. They've done a good job with revamping that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of new casinos. The shows are starting back up. Pool
Oh,
parties
shows
starting
too?
back
I
up.
didn't know that.
We should do this from the pool tomorrow. Can we do that?
Wait a minute. Yeah.
I'm thinking, from the Dre's rooftop.
Wow. Let's do that.
That'd work.
Better talk to our producers here.
Yeah, I don't think this is waterproof or all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So earlier we had a great episode with Mariana Honeycutt with Kimley Horn. She was talking about some big projects that they've done. The MSG Sphere here in Vegas,
Right.
the Allegiant Stadium that's getting a lot of recognition. The Resorts World, first
Resorts World,
floor-up
yeah,
hotel and casino that's been up in a while.
Right.
I scratched my head though. So they got these developments going up, but they have the former Fontainebleau, that tall blue high-rise that you've seen. It's been sitting there, almost finished, and apparently the first time, I guess the Fontainebleau ran out of money. Somebody bought it, then they ran out of money. It looks like it'll be phenomenal, but it's just sitting there. And I'm like, how do these other casinos go up and these will develop? And this one's just sitting there. I mean, you think they'd finish one before they start the other?
Yeah, go figure. And the money's,
Yep.
who knows?
Yep. And then masks. I don't see any more masks around here.
No
Well, I
masks.
see very few, but for the most part, it seems like everybody is back to business as usual.
Yeah.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more.
I'll tell you what.
It's exciting.
So today, on our next episode, we have a really good one for you. We have the manager of construction for Clark County Public Works, and it's kind of a double whammy because his wife came along with him, Raquel Floyd. She's the president of the Nevada APWA, and as well as her own company, and she's going to talk about that.
Great.
So
It's excellent.
in a little bit, we'll have them on. Anything else interesting going on in the news, engineering-wise, Stu?
Let's see. Not a whole lot I checked out. We talked about it a little bit this morning. One thing, we did mention this, but I'm still amazed that the level of Hoover Dam we mentioned earlier
Yeah.
is the lowest it's been since the dam was built. And I don't know what year that was.
That
Anybody?
true.
Anybody? No?
Wow.
But I mean, that's a little scary, a little bit talks to the
Right.
dry nature we have out here.
Right. And that dam, it feeds electricity to Vegas and
Sure
like Southern
does.
California as well, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something to keep an eye on.
Man, I wish there was a way to transfer all that rain down from the southeast Louisiana out to California. I mean, they could use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who gets what when the fight starts. It's pretty much in black and white with the agreements, but you never know.
Right.
Once they get desperate, how they react to those
Exactly.
restrictions.
Okay. Well, without further ado, I think it's a good time to bring up our guest for today. Like I mentioned, it's Jimmy Floyd and Raquel Floyd with APWA as well as Clark County Public Works. They're joining us as we speak. Jimmy, Raquel, how y'all doing today?
Doing
Great. How
great,
are you guys
Steve.
doing?
We got your
Thanks, Stu, for
we got
having
your
us.
poker chips ready for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you want, we can play around.
Maybe we should do that. That would be great for our guests.
Stu counts cards though, so I don't know if it's real fair
Stu,
playing with him. I mean, you can't do that. That little 3-year-old, he was counting cards. He had something
I
about him
talked to him earlier.
going on.
Fu-
Hi,
Future engineer.
there you go,
There we go.
Jimmy, Raquel. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. How are
Great,
you guys?
I'm
Steve.
so glad you guys could join us today.
Thank you for having us.
No
thanks for
problem, no
having us.
problem.
Pleasure to be here.
You guys just got back from Disney World.
We did.
How was it?
Oh wow.
It
Humid.
was humid.
Humid, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'd be saying. I guarantee you.
How was travel? Like airplanes, airports heading down to Orlando? I'm sure Orlando was busy, but just the flight experience, was it packed? I mean,
Yeah, it's busy.
People are moving again. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah.
I've been traveling for work since last June, to be honest. So it's been about a year, and
Oh.
I missed the vacant middle seats. There
Right.
is certainly some lemonade to the COVID experience.
Yes, absolutely.
No more middle seats. So.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh
absolutely.
well.
So speaking of the whole COVID pandemic, so how did the pandemic affect you guys both personally as well as work-wise, both APWA as well as Clark County? Jimmy?
Yeah, Clark County. I mean, we really took advantage of the downturn and the lack of people in the roadway. So a lot of projects, for example, I don't know if anybody's seen that little small project over on Las Vegas Boulevard that's going on right now.
Right.
We
That little-
basically
yeah.
a little small project. We essentially doubled our crews on that project to allow to try to speed it up. There's
Right.
just a lot of infrastructure,
Right.
Work-wise, we had to deal with employees that had to be at home, and as far as social distancing, so that was definitely a challenge. But it did
Right.
give us an opportunity to speed up construction as well.
Right, right.
And
Wow.
you didn't miss a day of work, if I recall,
A lot
as a
of it,
company.
Yeah,
as a
I will
business.
say a lot of the public works employees, they really never went home. They've worked the whole time.
Right.
So the job of public works never ends, whether we're in a pandemic or not. So
Right.
that was really good, and kudos to those guys.
Yeah,
Right,
the word,
right.
word essential really applies there.
Sure.
Yeah.
No kidding. And I love mentoring. I mentor quite a bit, and also a fellow engineer with your young, wonderful woman from Kimley Horn this morning,
Oh.
and very passionate about public works and
Yes.
speak to young students like
Yes.
you had here. And one of the
That's
things
great.
I'll say is as representing now the president of Public Works Association, a national association, 30,000 members strong in
Yeah.
the country, representing Nevada. I'll speak to these young kids and I say, well, you go over there and go drink out of that drinking fountain. How do you think
Right.
that water gets there?
Ah,
How do you think that toilet works all the time?
Yeah.
Or, all the things that are just fundamental and not only that adults and citizens take for granted, but kids don't necessarily put together
Right.
how these things
Right.
come about. So clearly in the family, passionate about public works, but also representing our state now.
Right.
As the president and vice president, double duty for Mr.
Yes.
Floyd
Yes.
here.
That's
Absolutely.
For our 600 plus approximate members for
Wow.
the state.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong chapter.
Yeah,
Very
very
strong
strong. I got to say, like, so I'm involved with APWAs here in Nevada and California, and the involvement of the APWA engineering community here in Nevada, that's my favorite. It's
Same here.
I love
Arizona's
it.
the same way.
Yeah.
Arizona's a very strong chapter.
There's like a camaraderie, like bond. It reminds me,
absolutely.
like back in Louisiana, it's a lot like that too. And I
Right.
never saw that in California, but then when I came to the meetings in
Okay.
Nevada, I'm like, oh, this feels like home. Yeah.
I'm clearly biased. Graduated
all right.
engineering here, UNLV,
Right.
run red,
Full
pretty
disclosure,
true.
full transparency.
Well, but now I represent the state, so blue happens to be my favorite personal color.
Right.
So for those of you that don't know, UNR and UNLV are two university systems. Our branches happen to reflect north and south for our chapter here in Nevada.
Right.
And just to speak to what you say, Steve, there is something very special about Nevada, specific to public works and engineering and construction community as a whole.
Right.
There's something very personal. There's something very familial. We've developed a lot of friendships
Yes.
out of this particular association, which, again, give a little plug here for apwa.net for those of you that are looking to sign up. Sign up as a South member so we can get credit, not the North.
Yes.
But
well done.
but anyway, clearly a great association. We're a handful of my best friends. I met the love of my life through that organization
Oh,
as well.
awesome.
So you actually met through the
Awesome.
chapter too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Round of applause right
Huh?
Oh, you got to hit that button, Steve. That deserves the
there.
button.
That's worth mentioning right there.
Good button usage.
Yeah. And you guys won. There was I guess a golf tournament recently, and you guys won that.
Well,
Third.
okay, I'm going to
Third,
do a
yeah.
little guilty plug here for my company. I'm also the president of Rock Solid Solutions,
There you
which
go.
is a
We have
A
your
local-
logo up on the screen.
thank you for that.
problem.
We're a local DBE, but we sponsored some clients of ours that actually took first place.
Nice.
So I take
nice.
credit for that team, even though it was the talent
Oh, why not?
of Whiting Turner that actually performed. But we're great partners. But we also came in third
Right.
as our team. So we did pretty well with APWA, and it was a
Excellent.
great first outing for us, to be
Oh,
honest.
oh, yeah.
That was our first
Right,
outing.
That was,
right.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
They had a
since
good
COVID.
turnout, from what I understand, too.
Full. It was
Awesome.
full. We
Our
turned
chapter-
away 4
yeah.
teams,
We haven't even begun live things
Yeah.
yet in our
Yeah.
chapter in
Yeah.
Arizona.
Well,
and we've been pushing for it.
kind of how you talk about COVID's affected us. It's as we talk, we're a family in APWA. Of course, COVID, we've had to miss 2 conferences, and so
Right.
that's a big loss for us just to
Yeah, financial.
talk
too.
to people, to see people, and,
Yes.
and that's really how we do our business and our networking. So we're really excited for upcoming in September to have our fall conference again. So again, like being here today at World of Concrete, it's great to see conferences back. I think it's definitely important for our industry as a whole, the concrete industry, as well as Las Vegas. So
Absolutely.
Thanks for everybody
Yeah.
coming. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what about so? Is there still like hybrid work from home work type thing, or is it all full work
I
from work?
don't
now?
know what that is. What's that hybrid
What's
work
that?
from
Jimmy-
home thing?
Jimmy doesn't-
You wouldn't.
As
Cannot relate.
As an essential worker, he doesn't have that benefit.
That's
As a fantastic consultant who's currently hiring, by the way, go check out our LinkedIn
There
page.
you go.
The benefit of flexible work has been realized.
Right. Right.
COVID, again, I constantly try to find the lemonade, has provided some lemonade for my staff. I know,
Yes.
especially those of us that have young children and trying to find that balance. But as consultants to construction, public, private, contractor, owner, we have quite a bit of flexibility with that. And
Right.
have people, I have staff in Hawaii and Washington, D.C. that we can support projects in California or Miami or vice versa. We're
Right.
just gives us a lot of flexibility. I'm not sure it's necessarily COVID related. It did allow us to become very proficient with
Yeah.
that tool of managing our clients and
Right.
our projects. So.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, Jimmy, let's talk about Clark County. What's some current infrastructure and project developments going on in Clark County Public Works worth mentioning?
Yeah, Clark County, our 5-year CIP is around a $2 billion
Wow. $2
CIP,
billion?
CIP program for sure. And on average, we probably spend around $200 million per year just
Wow.
in construction costs. Currently, we have around $380 million currently in construction, or about ready to start construction.
Wow, that's not in Bitcoin, is it?
No, it's not
Okay,
Bitcoin.
just checking.
Good check.
No telling
No,
me.
what's the other one that they
The Dogecoin.
Dogecoin.
Yeah, Dogecoin is good though. It works.
You accept Dogecoin?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
good
about
enough.
a year and a half into our Las Vegas Boulevard improvements project.
Okay.
And it's a 7-phase project that we're currently working on.
Correct.
Of course, this first phase is down here on the north, and we're about ready to move down on the south side of town.
Wow.
To get into that, and it's going to be around a 5-year total
5 year.
project
Right.
to kind of cover all those projects, to basically upgrade all the water lines. I don't know if a lot of people saw maybe a couple weeks ago, we installed a new water feature in the middle of the boulevard when somebody
Right.
hit a hydrant. So
Nice. So you're doing your part for the water features. Yeah.
yeah, we
You do it all.
We had to shut it down because we have to get rid of all non-essential water use.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Makes perfect sense.
Can't
Very
have shut
good.
your sprinklers
Nicely
off.
done.
Yeah, so we're replacing a lot of the water line in conjunction with the Las Vegas Valley Water District.
Right.
But also we're taking this opportunity to upgrade all of our communications infrastructure, installing all facilities for 5G improvements.
Nice.
As well as installing sewer lines, resurfacing the whole boulevard. So that I guess it would be understated to say that's a big project.
Right. Right.
We're working very closely with the casinos, such as Resorts World, Wynn,
Right.
MGM, Caesars, all of our project partners to make that project not only successful but not to impact their business,
Right.
because they love to see construction in front of their properties, of course.
They
right?
love
Exactly,
that.
exactly.
Especially.
Right.
So we appreciate their I guess their understanding during the construction,
Right.
and we're improving how we do business and how we talk to the community, as well talk to visitors so they know how to get to the properties that they're going to.
Correct.
And enjoy Vegas, as well working with the boring company with
Right.
their new tunnel infrastructure.
Right.
So we're working closely with that team. So that's just one section of
Right.
Clark County. We cover the largest area, of course, in southern Nevada.
It's Vegas,
Right.
North Las Vegas, City of Boulder, Henderson.
So we cover unincorporated Clark County, and it's over 900,000 people that
Right.
live specifically in
That's amazing.
unincorporated Clark County.
That's amazing.
The majority of the strip, everything south of Sahara all the way to St. Rose Parkway, that's
Right.
all in Clark County.
Right.
Welcome Las Vegas sign. So we're improving the 215. We just recently completed a project up there.
Right.
Another big project that'll be coming next year, of course, will be the Summerlin interchange. That will improve that whole, I guess, interchange up there to add some flyovers
Right.
and improve the capacity. So those are really 2 of currently 25 active projects that we're working on.
Right.
So,
Jimmy, all these projects going on. I know in Arizona there's a significant material shortage. How is that? I'm sure it's to some degree the same here. How are you guys handling that? Can you
Honestly,
talk to that?
Yeah, that's honestly that is the biggest challenge that we're facing right
Oh.
now with all projects across the board.
Okay.
Whether it's a streetlight pole or traffic signal poles,
Fly ash.
concrete fly
Yeah,
ash,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Timber.
I think Rinker knows about
Wow.
fly ash.
A little bit,
Those
yeah.
challenges. Just concrete pipe, not a concrete pipe necessarily,
Steel,
but
probably.
steel, everything.
Yeah.
It's really tough to get. So things that we used to be able to get off the shelf, now you have to wait. 10,
Different
12
planning and
weeks to get to,
scheduling
yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
Fi-
sure.
Nice plug. I don't know if you meant to do that. That's kind of our core business, planning and
Yeah.
scheduling. But
Yeah.
nicely done, Sue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We planned that.
But too, from
Andy, please.
as our core business is to manage scheduling, progress, delay, force majeure issues, all these things that the COVID pot fits in is not only documenting that but managing that risk and trying to be proactive and order material early. Is again, like I mentioned earlier, we represent owners and contractors. So with respect to contractors, trying to facilitate that as far as what can we get material releases on that we can lock in pricing on, because
Okay.
it's the escalation. We just put together an
boy.
estimate today for Water Reclamation District, is significant and real.
Yeah.
And it's not 3% anymore.
Right.
So all those things as they relate to delay and all the things Jimmy kind of just folding in back to as they communicate to project stakeholders like the casinos. When are they going to be done? When are they going to be out of the way? And delay and performance and all those things day to day on the project is really where all those measurements and progresses are made.
Right. Now, from construction, from a sequencing standpoint, do you find that the silver lining of the pandemic was there was no traffic? So construction, there was really no big problems, I guess, closing roads down because people weren't. But now with the people and cars back on the road, is that challenge resurfaced?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's I think a big, I guess, challenge and concern for properties and businesses that Vegas is we're reopening, we're bringing people back to the city,
Right.
and to make sure that the construction projects don't delay that or somehow impact that. And I guess the message is we do everything possible to reduce that impact and make it as little as possible. Ultimately, the projects have to get done.
Absolutely.
Again, like I said, we don't want any more fountains on Las Vegas Boulevard. And we have a water line out there that, if somebody gets near it with a backhoe, it starts seeping water out. So I hear that's bad.
Yeah,
So.
that's not good.
It's not
Would be a
ideal.
good thing. Crazy. It'd be a pool party for the homeless people. So. Yeah.
Once in a while,
Once
maybe
in a while,
not.
it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Or those that are out at 3 or 4 in the morning taking
Absolutely.
There are
videos
those.
of themselves running
Yeah,
through it.
yeah,
That Stu was out there at 3 in the morning taking selfies last
I
night.
heard there was a pool party out there. I couldn't
know.
find it.
I was watching the news,
Maybe
and
next
there
year.
you were in the background.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay out.
Good old Stu.
That's awesome.
now, resiliency and sustainable infrastructure. What are your thoughts on that from a perspective on how it relates to concrete?
Yeah, so I think there's all different sorts of products out there to build a project, to install our infrastructure.
Right.
And as public servants, our responsibility is to make sure when we install something, it's not just lasting 20, 30 years.
Right.
It's lasting 50, 60, 100 years.
Right.
Because in with concrete products, and especially things like precast, it gives us a higher level of quality.
Correct.
Versus other alternatives that say if you shoot fireworks at it, it'll melt.
Absolutely.
I don't want to name certain products, but
Absolutely.
Oh, heaven forbid! If you want to, no. I'm sorry.
But we find concrete, as a superior product, whether it's comparable to steel or comparable to, say, a plastic or something like that. It just gives you that level of confidence in your infrastructure that you have lower maintenance costs. It's going to be able to withstand any sort of unknowns, whether it's any sort of chemical attack or fireworks or people homeless. You talk about homeless starting fires.
Yeah.
In the middle of a pipe, we had a
Right.
project. We had to replace 100 foot of plastic pipe.
Is that Cactus Avenue?
It was over by there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We had to replace it with some concrete pipe because the homeless was in there and built a fire. And
Trying to stay warm. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got a little bit too warm. So,
Yeah.
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 We've had the same thing in Arizona. Same
Yeah.
thing.
So definitely concrete. It's definitely an important component. I think we definitely have our challenges with fly ash and different components and finding pozzolans and that sort of thing to address those issues.
Right.
But it's a big part of what we do.
Absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely. Yeah, I was talking earlier. We were talking about sustainability, and you hear all these reports about sustainability coming out. And then one variable I noticed that sometimes gets left out is design life. Like when you have something like with concrete, cement, when you have 100+ year design life, that should be an important variable in that equation. Because like Jimmy said, you don't have something 20 years have to be replaced, 20 years have to be replaced.
Right.
All that replacement costs money, both from shipping it, making it, digging it out. Whereas if you put one thing in the ground and it stays there for 100 years, that's a huge part of the equation for sustainability.
Well, and that's why we're myself being in the business for many decades. I know I don't show it, but
Not at all.
Come on.
Nope. Stu, on the other
just
hand.
dealing with a handful of owners, public owners specifically, that, to your point, Steve, while it might cost more money now, seeing the big picture and in
Right.
the long run, just being forward thinking like that,
Right.
much like Clark County does, they're definitely NDOT. A lot of the local public entities are very strong that way, and really take that into consideration. Which, as a citizen, I'm really proud of.
Right.
For the state and for how those entities are managing our
Yep.
tax money.
Yep.
How about maintenance budgets too? I mean, there's
For sure.
always infrastructure funding challenges, and the maintenance side you read over and over where that's really not given the priority in the planning stage. I mean, you probably deal
Or
with it
easy
every day.
to cut, when budget cuts come along.
Yes,
it's-
exactly. Yeah. I've heard
Yeah,
that
I mean,
many
it's,
times.
it's all part of our design process and analysis whenever you look at a project, because you have to, of course, look at the life cycle costs, and big part, it is that maintenance, and we kind of say a project is kind of like a child, with design is essentially bringing the child from conception to birth, and then construction we raise we raise it and get it to adulthood, and then take care of it the rest of its life. So
Try to, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
try to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes they can be a little stubborn.
Yeah, like the 4 we have at home.
Just 4, that's it?
Just 4.
Oh, man, I got some
okay.
catching up to do. I have a lot of catching up to
We'll
do.
loan you 2. We
You want me
cycle
to?
them out. Yeah.
There we go.
Look at that.
Yeah. Hey,
That is-
that's sustainable.
Yeah.
That's
Win-win.
recycling. There you go.
Win-win.
Win
It's
for
a
everybody.
win-win.
There you go.
Beautiful.
We should have brought. Hey, tell them to come along and play with
Yeah.
blackjack earlier.
They probably
Apparently
wouldn't
the
be
kids
run
are
off
very,
so
very-
easily.
Yeah, they fight
Oh,
me
is
for
that
it.
right?
They take the chips with them, which I think one of those kids did. So.
That's
Now,
awesome.
now Clark County's fuel indexing and tax revenue has been huge to the benefits of infrastructure. Tell us a little bit about that. How much of an impact has it played with all these projects coming out and funding and so to speak?
Yeah, the Fry initiative was a huge component
Huge.
for us to be able to push projects forward. It's essentially another bucket for us to pull funding out to get projects
Right.
and reallocate resources so we can not only get our flood projects done, but also get all of our resurfacing projects. A lot of ITS comes through the RTC through the Fry funding. Again, mentioning RTC, that kind of manages that fund for us. A great partner, but a lot of these improvement projects comes from that Fry funding.
Right.
And moving forward, it was very important to basically index the cost of fuel to the revenue that we have,
Right.
because they increase.
Yeah.
Of course, right? It's a direct tie.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a huge component, and
Right.
just one of our other funding sources that we use.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so we appreciate those that are in town. I know it's not ideal to see on your hotel bill the $35 or whatever the resort corridor
Right.
fee is, but that's huge for us in the public
Does
works
part
side.
of that resort
were
fee
talking
go to
about
that?
that.
We were talking about that last night. So does part of that resort fee go towards?
So, like the Boulevard project is all funded by the resort corridor.
Really?
Funds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
feel a little better about that then.
So,
Yeah.
Well, of course,
You
then
were
the water-
complaining last night.
I was
Yeah.
complaining.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, exactly right. So when you can drive down the boulevard and have no construction, then you can feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when there's nothing being used for it. But kind of back to the storyline we've all been through with COVID and everything, and how important tourists are to us as Nevadans, not only to relieve us of state income tax,
Yes.
so we're one of those
Mhm.
states like a handful in the nation, but also that resort corridor fee and how important, and you just don't. So thank you to everybody who's here who isn't
Yes.
from Nevada, but
Right.
we really do. It is really important to us as locals and professionals. And I can speak to that big blue tower if and when you want to.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
To
Uh-huh.
as much as I'm able to, according to my contract. But,
Sounds good.
Okay. Fair enough.
Sounds good.
but
Sounds
it
good.
is still breathing. I'll
It
say
is?
that. Yes.
Okay. Because I've been
Yes.
like every time I drive, it looks like it'll be phenomenal once
It
it's
is
done.
phenomenal. I've been associated with that project since 2008. Well, 2006, because the doors basically, everything hit the fan in 2008,
Right.
2009. It's gone through a couple breakups,
Okay.
as you kind of noted
Right.
earlier.
I'm very well
But
familiar with
it's I joke, I say maybe I'll retire when it finishes,
When it
because I've
finishes,
been
right.
waiting. I've been through
That's
3
the-
breakups,
Yeah.
and so now
It's
I'm
time, yeah.
I really
Would be.
have faith that this is the right team that's gonna bring it to what it was meant. I just got goosebumps. What it was meant to be,
Good.
and hopefully in the
Excellent.
next couple of years we can be talking about that.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Now, another thing, the APWA Envision, I guess, program is a
Mhm.
big thing. I think Stu's familiar. He's going through that training. Tell us a little bit about the APWA Envision. Both you and Stu.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well,
I,
what I'd like to really ask is tips on the test. I think in the next couple of weeks. I mean, is that
Well, I guess first,
appropriate,
for listeners,
we're live, I guess
let's tell
maybe
them,
that's-
what exactly
Yeah.
it is.
Go
What-
ahead,
what
honey.
is
I'm
it?
You go
not
ahead.
doing
You're
the
the-
test, so you can speak to that, and I'll speak to some of the events and other certifications.
okay? Well, simply, it's kind of what I would call the equivalent to the lead on the architectural side. What I call the architectural side, the USGBC's lead. I'm a lead certified professional, but
Where's the canned applause?
Oh,
Yeah,
the
hey,
canned
is that-
applause.
There you go.
However, the Envision is strictly for infrastructure, people and projects, and it's got to do with all the same energy saving, sustainability, climate change. What else? Equity.
Yep.
It goes into some societal issues like that. So it's much more appropriate for our civil infrastructure industry.
Correct.
Sure, and it's a big bubble of experience through APWA. So not only is there certification, but even last year, and you as a chapter member here to
Right.
Nevada know that the whole re-envision, and of course us in Nevada being creative that we are and always pimping ourselves, I guess. The NV for Nevada re-envision was embraced by some of our amazing members of our council, and so we had quite a bit of basically web-based presentations, some amazing opportunities over the last year for our members, because our members, we have such a commitment to our membership, and very conscious of keeping it alive. That's why our conferences that Jimmy mentioned earlier are so important. Again, our fall conference will be up in Lake Tahoe this September 28th to October 1st.
A great conference.
It's fantastic, and we can't all wait to be together again. But Re-Envision, again, just a fantastic platform if anybody wants to go out to apwa.net and see what that's all about. As well, there's certifications for public works professionals for management and supervision. There's all sorts of online library and information for the members. And membership is
It's key.
$100 or $200. I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah, compared to.
And now that we're all out rebuilding again and re-engaging again, it's just the perfect time. And I'm sure there's probably a sale out there right now. I know they did last year where we're trying to get a lot of our YPs, young professionals, very passionate about, like any of us in industry and with a business, it's always about the next generation or even our children, and getting them engaged and inspiring them. So young professionals, young members, I'm pretty sure, I think it's even $95 or $105, I forget.
And that actually isn't too bad. For everything you get and the resources that are available to you.
Nationwide.
Networking and everything, that's a steal.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah. And you did speak earlier to how special, and again, my bias in Nevada, but I'm involved with many chapters. I speak nationally. I've spoken in Florida, and I guess because we're an I call us an intimate state.
Yes.
85% of us are still undeveloped or owned by the federal government, but we have access to public work professionals and all the designers and all the consultants. So for any of you out there that are contractors, suppliers, this organization is second to none, especially in this state. And so I think, Steve, you commute, and you probably say that Nevada might be better than others that you're involved with for that, because there's that access. Someone like Jimmy and his boss Dennis and Christina Swallows and all the amazing people in public works make themselves accessible.
Absolutely.
And and on a personal level, accessible.
Absolutely.
Scott Hansen at Clark County Water Rec, Jeremy Lovett, Jose, there's just everybody, or Jorge, sorry, at the city. And so it's just a very special group.
Right. It's teamwork, essentially, at the end of the day.
And it's reflective of our projects. It's fantastic.
The corroboration with, having that type of relationship with people, you just speed the timing up so much on projects, and any effort you have, if you didn't have that relationship, the corroboration would take time to develop. And so I'm sure that affects your all your projects.
Absolutely, and it's a reflection of all of us in society, right? We know you develop relationships, people you trust, people that you can count on. It's the same.
No different.
It's the same formula: being good, being righteous, doing the right thing. Being communicative, whether it's in your neighborhoods or your societies, professionally. It's still true.
Absolutely.
Earlier Stu was talking, or we were talking about the Lake Mead and how the levels have dropped so much. Are you guys seeing any impact as far as directly to Las Vegas?
Other than running our boat on it and not being able to have this much surface area. And showing the kids, see, like 6 years ago, you can now see the water line from, 7 years ago? I feel like it's maybe 15 or 20 feet. I forget.
That deficit line is amazing. Like, I remember I was at an APWA luncheon.
I think it was in the 40s when it was done, by the way.
I was at an APWA luncheon 2 years ago, and then they were talking about, how it was at critical point then. And I think now it's even at a lower critical point. That boggles my mind.
And we've had presenters at APWA lunches. Again, the Southern Branch and Northern Branch. A little plug here for APWA Nevada.
Shameless.
We have monthly luncheons. We're the first Thursday. North is the third Thursday, and we have speakers all the time. And I think it's probably been 2 years ago now that we had someone from Las Vegas Valley Water or SNWA. I forget. They use the word drought, and Jimmy and I go back and forth a lot about drought. And you talked about, it's black and white in the contract, and I'm not a water specialist.
Exactly.
I think I had one of my least good grades in open water at university, but most of it passes through, right? So we go back and forth as far as the drought discussion.
And as a city, we're essentially getting rid of all non-essential landscaping. So
I was going to ask you, what kind of limitations are they instilling? Like in California, they're starting to, have all type of limitations. My water bill came in last month, and I had a surcharge for using too much water. I'm never home.
Right.
What's surcharge?
Yeah, we manage the maintenance on the strip, and we've gotten rid of all of our, I guess, non-functional grass a long time ago. But that is another initiative that's going out throughout the whole valley to get rid of that, to, I guess, be more efficient with our water use.
Right,
so,
right.
Because we have to.
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's like with the growth of Las Vegas, like I mentioned, every time I come in, it grows more and more and more. And you said the population as a whole is 9 million. With that, I know home prices are coming up too. I saw an article that now the average home price in Reno Sparks, what do you think it is? Average median.
$450,000.
$600,000. That blows my mind.
And it's and I have family. I mean, that's where Jimmy and I met. I have some of my dearest people live in Reno Sparks. I'm actually trying to inspire. This is how state minded I am. Our daughter to go to UNR. Although I'm a Rebel alumni, but it's a fantastic school. It's a great neighborhood or a great community up there.
Right.
And just beautiful, obviously, for nature.
Right.
They've always been high, in my opinion.
In Reno Sparks?
In Reno, absolutely. Because they've preserved their development for so long.
Correct.
My opinion.
Correct.
And now, of course, they've opened those purse strings a little bit. We've had high density residential projects coming in with some affordable apartments they just didn't have for a long time.
Correct.
So a lot of those are starting to roll out. But, a lot of my friends who would be sitting here in the audience would probably get up here and say, unfortunately, it's still inflated. So they can't necessarily sell their house, even though it might have doubled in value, because then they're just rebuying back into the same inflated market.
Absolutely.
And certainly Vegas has not slowed down for some crazy reason.
Nope.
I still can't figure it out. We're struggling for trades, we're struggling for bodies on site, extra crews.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure a lot of it's still a lot of the falling over from California.
Right.
Moving into Nevada.
Yep.
We've got development, like you mentioned, moving up into Garnett and all of that with SNWA. So it's going to be an interesting next 5 years.
Good. And I'm looking forward to seeing the continued growth, not only in Las Vegas, but Nevada, Clark County as a whole.
Be good for all of us.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're
We're
so
so
welcome.
glad to have you on. It's
been great.
Looking forward to the fall conference and upcoming meetings and
Definitely.
more face-to-face type stuff.
Buy you guys around.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or 5.
Yeah, that sounds. Hey, I'm down for that.
We'll take you up on that.
Stu's working halfway through. You're on number 6 right now. 7. They have an open bar down there, by the way.
Oh.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, I guess we know where we're having lunch.
Is your tab still open?
No, I closed that out, Steve.
Okay.
Sorry.
Not
because
Jimmy.
of you.
Jimmy has to go back to work.
Oh, man.
Oops.
Well, guys, thanks again. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank
We'll
you.
Really
see you
appreciate it.
again.
Nice meeting you.
Very nice
Jimmy,
to meet
nice
you.
meeting you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Awesome.
All right. Well, that was
Very nice.
great interview, great guest. Jimmy and Raquel, they're phenomenal. Yeah.
They're right here. They hear you.
Yeah.
It's great.
Thanks for the commentary, Stu. It was a one shot on me, and you got great segue. Great
Come on, the
segue.
Goonies. Come on.
I'm still on you about the
Watch it,
Goonies.
watch it.
I'm still
Okay,
on you about the Goonies.
Watch the
Have there been any
Goonies.
comments on the Goonies yet or not? You guys ready?
Our next guest.
Our next guest is in a rush to
Come
join
on up
us
here,
right
get
now.
up
He's
here.
wasting
Hey.
no time.
I'm a stand if that's
you're a
okay.
stand. Come stand right there. You're doing
I'm a
good.
stander.
Jason he got tired of waiting on the side, so he decided to jump.
I'm just going to
aboard.
jump up and do
There
it.
you
Why
go.
not?
There you go. Ladies and
Sounds
gentlemen,
good.
our next guest is Jason Allen. He's director of the Mountain States Concrete Pipe Association. He actually, you ran for mayor a couple of years ago, is it?
I want to hear about that. I heard a little bit about that.
I actually ran for the state House of Representatives.
Wow.
So my dad's the mayor of a small town
Oh.
in northern Utah. It's about 10,000 residents. He's been the mayor for 22 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's up for re-election right now.
Okay.
Oh, really?
And I said, hey, are you going to run again? And he said, yeah, his name's Mark Allen, and my middle name's Mark.
Right.
And so I said, well, I think I'm going to run against you, Dad. And he said,
That
he
was
said, really?
interesting.
I said, how about if no one runs against you, I'm going to file to run, but I'm going to file to run under my middle name. So he'll run as Mark C. Allen, and I'll run as J. Mark Allen. And boy, that'll confuse him. And I said, just for the sheer sake of the newspaper article.
Right.
Can you imagine how fun that would be? Father and
yeah.
son embroiled in a
Were
fight
there-
for the mayor.
Were there articles like that? I
No,
mean, there wasn't.
If
You
I
didn't run.
had run, someone ran against him. Someone
okay,
filed
okay,
last
okay,
week
okay.
to run against him,
Oh.
so he's got he
man.
has a contender. I can't let someone run unopposed, even if it's my dad.
Look at you, the man of principle.
He
The
is.
man of principle.
He
Say
is.
what you want about me.
Good times, good
They may
times.
not be great principles, but
Yeah.
I've got some.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll stick to them.
Yeah. Jason drove down here actually to be with us today, which thank you so much.
I did absolutely, yes.
You had some stops on the way, so you have your work as well.
Mhm.
How long was the drive?
So I was down in St. George. I was meeting with someone. I'm actually the president-elect of the Utah chapter of APWA.
Okay.
And so I had a meeting with our Southern Utah branch president this morning about
Right.
recruiting and trying to find some new members and some things that we're doing down there with some specifications and
Right.
things. And so I met with him, and it went a little bit long. So I jumped in the car. It's about 4.5 hours from my house down to St. George, and then
Okay.
another hour and a half from
Wow.
St. George to
Wow.
here. So I had to
Appreciate
hurry
that. We
and jump
appreciate
in and,
Nice
and
road
sit
trip.
down. So yeah, it was fun.
Thank you so
It's
much.
good.
Thank you so much.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we've been talking about with everybody COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
We're glad to be getting out of it. How did it impact you personally, as well as from a work
Professionally,
standpoint?
Sure. So I'm big into baseball.
Yep.
And so from a personal standpoint, first we had our baseball season postponed a little bit. I'm an assistant coach at the junior high that's about 2 blocks from my house, and my son was a 7th grader, so it was his first year he was going to play. He made the team, and we played our first preseason game, and we won 18-1. And they said, "Look, we haven't made the playoffs in like 19 years. This is the first year we think we're going to make the playoffs with this team." And
Right.
his coach came to him and said, "Hey, I know you're only a 7th grader, but you're going to be starting."
Right.
Starting in the
Wow.
outfield for us next week when our games start. You earned your spot. And he was so excited. And the next day they canceled our season.
Wow.
So from a personal standpoint, it was kind of a bummer.
That's a hit.
Where
That's a
where
hit.
we, he got robbed of that. Well, this last year they allowed him to play, and they did make the playoffs. So the first time in 20 years, my
Right.
son's team, they made the playoffs as an 8th grader. So I was excited for him for that. My family, we having the kids home from school was a little bit rough because I work from home.
Right.
So I am the
Trying to juggle that.
yeah, so
Yeah.
so my role is I'm the Mountain States Concrete Pipe Association director. So we're a state association of the American Concrete Pipe Association, and so I work from home. And mostly what I do is a lot of interacting with other people and a lot of going out and visiting folks, taking them out to lunch, playing around a golf here or there, giving presentations.
Right.
And so from a professional standpoint, it was really tough
Really tough,
because.
yeah.
Because, I mean, you folks know you're out there talking to people, you're out there making sales calls
Absolutely.
and visiting and talking to folks. Not having that personal interaction and face-to-face interaction was tough. So what we did in our market and what we tried to do to I guess, increase that interaction was we started doing, instead of doing like blitz visits where we just go from office to office and bounce around, we started doing virtual blitzes through Zoom or go to a meeting.
Exactly.
And we'd set up appointments. We'd set up 10 appointments in a row, about
Right.
30 minutes each. And and what was cool about it is I could be meeting with someone up in Logan, which is, the top part of Utah. And then 5 minutes later, I could jump on a call with someone down in St. George, which
yeah.
is 6 hours away.
Yep.
And then I could jump on with someone in Boise and then someone in Salt Lake. And
There's
so
the positive.
it was, I mean,
You
it was a benefit.
You can
obviously,
just roll
but-
out of bed, throw a shirt on, where just sit there. You're good, right?
Yeah. No one had any idea that I had my
We,
pajama pants on the
We're
entire
just going to
time.
ask. We had an ongoing theme. So you wore pajama pants.
Oh,
But you
yeah.
had pants on. At least some type of pants.
Gym shorts, something that covered my
There
nether
you go.
regions. Is that what you're
Nether
asking?
regions.
Yeah.
There
There
you
was definitely
Okay,
something
it's kind of
covering
a
that.
poll
But,
we're taking.
but yeah, so definitely put me on the yes. The nether regions were covered, but it was not anything professional that I would have
hinterlands,
worn
if
to
you will.
work. But we also did a series of webinars, and I thought, what can we do to kind of be sticky?
Right.
Make it interesting and
Engagement.
make it
Right.
So important.
something
very
that
important.
people will want to come and see. So I started it, and I said, well, we're going to do it Friday at noon. And since so many people are working from home, we're going to call it the Pajama Presentation Series. And so I would wear pajamas.
Is that the one where you were in a onesie?
That is.
There
yeah.
you go.
So
Oh,
it kind of
okay.
escalated.
We're spiraling.
So the first week we had, it was just me in my University of Utah pajama pants and my Ute shirt, like, hey, look at me, I'm
Right.
and then the next week it was like, okay, I wore my Star Wars pants,
Right,
and my
right,
Star
right.
Wars, and then
So far, so good.
and then after that, it got to the, and it was just, okay, and now here's my anchors. Our high school that I went to is the Bonneville Lakers. Their signs and anchors. So I have these cute anchor pants that my wife bought me, and this Bonneville shirt, like, hey, here's my alma mater, And then I had a Superman onesie that my kids got me a few years ago, and then I had a Santa
Nice.
Claus onesie, so I did the whole thing with the Santa beard, and not as glorious a beard as yours, Steve,
I was about to say.
but
It
it
is
was
glorious.
But
It's
so I
not
did that.
mysterious.
And then it just kind of escalated. And before long, I had like a rainbow unicorn onesie that I wore.
Oh,
And then I took votes, like, what would you want me to
that's
see?
a good idea.
It
Yeah.
essentially became a thing, and
Yeah.
like you
So-
were sort of trademarking it.
So people were looking, like, people were coming in like, hey, we better sign up for this webinar just to see what stupid
Thing he's
pajama
wearing.
There
he's
you
going to
go.
wear this
we should
time.
have came
So
here in onesies, Stu. Tomorrow, onesies,
Let me
Listen,
think about
don't
that.
threaten me with a good time.
onesies, just not onesies or Spanx. But I'm not. I know you're the Spanx
The
person.
spank thing,
Well,
you came up with that earlier.
Someone
but,
dared me. Someone said, I'll bet you once everything was lifted and we were able to go back out. They said, I dare you. I bet that you would not show up to Topgolf in a onesie.
You did it.
Oh, I did. It was a flying
Look at
squirrel
that.
onesie. I draw the line at bodily harm. Shame to myself or my family is no problem for me, but bodily harm, I can't do that. So they dared me to jump off the top floor in my flying squirrel onesie to see if it actually worked, and that's where I draw the line.
Okay.
I'm a pretty heavy dude. That's a lot of falling and a lot of weight, a lot of velocity hitting the ground.
Anti-aerodynamic.
I know enough about engineering to be dangerous and know that a big guy like me jumping off a third story isn't going to end well.
Jason, real quick. So we've been talking about concrete and infrastructure a lot. So what are your perspectives on concrete and development and infrastructure, and even more so and to the point? So what are your thoughts on resilience and sustainability infrastructure development as it relates to concrete?
Absolutely, great question. So I've been an engineer. I received my bachelor's and master's degree from the University of Utah. So I've been in engineering for a number of years and been in promotions of concrete products for the last 4, and I've really increased my knowledge and understanding of the products and of the importance of resiliency. But early on in my career, I had a boss who taught me how important it was to really take into account life cycle costs.
Absolutely.
and ensuring that we're putting something in that will last a long time. I've developed this whole idea of leaving a legacy. That as an engineer, the thing that drove me to the engineering industry was I wanted to leave a legacy. I wanted to look at something and say, that used to be raw ground. Now that's something that I helped build. And it's fun taking my kids and showing them, look at this pedestrian underpass that we did, this precast pedestrian underpass. And we walk under it and they say, wow, that's Dad's tunnel. That's Dad's intersection. That's I've left that to my kids, but more so I look around at the pipe that we've installed and the box culverts and these precast products and these concrete roads and different things that I was instrumental in putting in. I think I'm going to be able to tell my grandkids about it, and they'll tell their grandkids because these things are going to last a long time. They're going to leave a legacy, and that's why I chose engineering, and that's why I really gravitated more in my career towards precast concrete products and things, because I wanted to leave that legacy. I wanted it to last for a long time. Beyond me, I wanted to make the world around me better and make it better for future generations. And I feel like that's really what's at the heart of that resiliency question.
You hit the nail on the head with the word legacy, because concrete products, precast, from anything from roadways to pipe to box, that design life is a legacy. It stays there forever. You can tell your kids, grandkids about it. And that is a very important aspect of sustainability, not only resiliency.
Absolutely.
That's good. Now tell us, in the Mountain States Concrete Pipes Association, what are some, just let the audience know what are some initiatives, big things you guys are working on up there?
Absolutely.
That might be interesting.
Yeah, so we cover Utah and Idaho, and we have some specifications that we've been working on, and we've been trying to help to improve installation of mainly pipe and box culvert products. We've written a handful of specs, and we've talked to cities about it. But our big thing is I hate to see a product installed and then have to replace it 5, 10, 15 years later.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so we've been trying to work with cities and work with municipalities in the state in improving their specifications, and also working with educating contractors on exactly how to install these products, because it doesn't do anybody any good to design something for 50 years and only have it last 10. So those are the big initiatives and big pushes we've been doing is installing some regional and state level specs to improve installation and make it last for that long time.
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah.
Because specifications, that's from a standpoint of making sure the right products are specified. That's so important, and to making sure the DOTs and the municipalities are applying those specifications. To make sure no shortcuts are being taken.
That's the other half.
It's like a cookbook. And you'd be surprised how many specifications there are, but they don't really follow it.
Exactly.
I sit on many committees for spec books, and like one thing I did in Northern Nevada, we were talking about trying to have the agency adopt the spec, and it's in there. I'm like, yeah, but it's in there, but things like trench details and things that can be seen are not in there, and it's very important because when a contractor, they'll just skim over, but when they see detail, what's that? It stands out and it draws more attention to sure things are getting done.
Absolutely.
Yep.
True. Yeah.
So Jason, man, thank you so much for
Absolutely.
coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to go see the rest of the show, and it's always a pleasure to see the two of you, Stu and Steve.
Go see the tunnel, Jason. The new tunnel.
I think I need to go see the new tunnel.
We need to head around to Blackjack first,
do you want to take a hit, or are you good?
I've always learned. Let's see. You always hit on 18, right? Is that the?
Always hit on 18. Is that what you do?
I don't remember that part, but
Is
close.
that what? I mean, I think you guys want me to play with you now, right?
The
I'm
kids
not
that-
hustling you.
The kids that were here earlier.
Listen,
they
I'm
would be the
a
ones
Mormon kid from Utah. I know
There you go.
nothing about gambling. Trust
Welcome
me.
to Vegas.
Ugh.
Time for
Excellent.
initiation. Jason, thank you again.
Hey, thank you.
Pleasure
Appreciate it,
having
Steve.
you.
Thanks.
Stu,
Thanks
always
very
a
much. Good
pleasure.
seeing you,
Ladies
sir.
and
Absolutely
gentlemen,
good to see you guys.
Jason Allen.
Jason Allen.
That concludes.
That's a whirlwind, Steve.
That's a whirlwind episode number 4 of the Rinker podcast. Thank
Number
you
4.
so much to Jimmy Floyd with Clark County, Raquel Floyd with APWA. Thank you so much for Jason Allen trekking down to Vegas from Utah. Till the next episode tomorrow. We have a good one. We have Tiffany Reed Villarreal. We're going to talk about
More
really
sustainability.
going to
Wow.
dive into sustainability and
Can't
resiliency.
wait. That'll be good.
And we have the city engineer from the city of Henderson.
Okay.
So
yeah, right.
It's going to be a big one.
All right, everybody.
All right, everybody. Me and Stu are going to go play in the tunnel and hit a pool party or two.
Pool party in the street.
And we need those
In
kids.
our onesies.
Hey, kids, blackjack time.
Blackjack.
Rinker Podcast, we're out. See you next time.
We are out.